So there are those people who are definitely smarter and funnier than me, like Frank Zappa. I mean, that was smart. But Bob is definitely smarter than me, often funnier than me, and definitely more, what would the word be? He's inscrutable. And so he was also the one, when I was 14, really changed my outlook on life. Mm-hmm. So before him, it was Fred Astaire. So, so meeting Bob was intimidating, but once I met him, I'm not in, there's no point. I just don't see any point. I can't do good work. You have to make a decision like, hey, it's a person just like you. They put their pants on one leg at a time. Okay. They might have certain gifts or talents that they've worked hard to, or they didn't work hard and it just came to them, some blessing, which you can see 5-year-olds play the piano and be Mozart. Nowadays you go on YouTube, you see these like 7-year-old guitar players who are maybe better than Eric Clapton. There's all kinds of stuff that you don't know why these people have these gifts. And it doesn't mean that they're particularly kind, intelligent, funny, it just means they have this gift. And so intimidation was never in my wheelhouse, feeling intimidated, except, as I said, when I first met Bob.
So you had a thing for song and dance men. Is that what's?
Oh, that's a good way. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I definitely did. No, it's like when I was little, before I was 14, you watched black and white movies on TV. And when you're that young, you sit really close to the TV and you get lost in it. And Fred Astaire movies, he would, especially the ones with Ginger Rogers, there was always some misunderstanding. But by the end of the movie, it was resolved that it was a misunderstanding. And then they would tap off and live life happily ever after. And then I heard Bob Dylan songs, and it's why I got a guitar. I think it was Bob, maybe it was Odetta. I got a guitar and learned to play guitar because Bob wrote songs that made me think you wouldn't necessarily tap off into the sunset. The misunderstanding might not get resolved. That wasn't the real world. And that was a big shift in my consciousness. And I think any kid, whether they're having the shift in consciousness or not, the music that means the most to you when you're like 14, 15 years old, that's a very powerful influence on your tastes and what it is you feel connected to for the rest of your life.
That's why we're doing this podcast.
Oh, why? Are you 14?
Yeah, well,
we're reliving our
14, yeah. That's where we were in the 80s.